I'm gonna record this. Okay, guys. But thank you so much for making today a priority. For those of you who I haven't met with or emailed directly with, I am the Northeast rep. My name's Danielle Williams. I collaborated with the team for this call. You're going to be hearing from both Chris and Caleb of the Phoenix. They're involved in managing the programming, and just get a little background on the programming, and then also the model to support those in recovery and what you can do at your affiliates. Also today, we connected with other folks such as Sarah Murphy of Asbury Park. You're going to hear from Kevin Forick of CrossFit T1, and then also Christy Hagan of News River CrossFit. They've been implementing the Phoenix classes at their affiliates and just have had a lot of success. So, these calls are here for you all to find value and hopefully bring this back to your affiliates. And any questions you have at the end, we'll have time for a Q&A. So with that said, I want to hand the baton over to Chris and Caleb and go from there.
Thanks, Danielle, and thanks everyone for coming out here today to support this. So mainly what we plan on doing is have you hear from the other affiliate owners more than me and Caleb. But I'm going to start out just sharing a little bit about myself and my journey with CrossFit in the Phoenix, and hopefully inspire why we do the work that we do. So my name's Chris. I'm the regional manager for the Phoenix in the Mid-Atlantic region. So basically I oversee everything from Connecticut to Virginia, almost all of Danielle's region actually, except for Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont. And I'm a person in sustained recovery. I'll be celebrating 6 years in about 4 months. And it's been a really long journey for me. That I'll fast forward most of it just to get to the CrossFit part. So in 2013, I actually went to prison due to my drug use and my substance use. And when I got out, well, I went to prison and I got sentenced to like a diversionary camp in New York State. If anyone's from New York, they have something called shock incarceration. That's like modeled after a military boot camp, but very physical fitness oriented. So while I was there, I mean, I was still smoking 2 packs a day. I was like 100 pounds overweight, and I had to run 2 or 3 miles a day, do push-ups all day. And it was really horrible at first. But after about 3 months, I started looking better and feeling better and got really optimistic about what my life could look like when I left there and living a substance-free lifestyle. So I left prison, came home. I jumped right into CrossFit. And first CrossFit class I went to is at CrossFit Salis right here in Middletown, New Jersey. And I stayed sober for almost a year just by going to CrossFit 5 times a week, doing 5Ks and Spartan races and all these things. I got off parole after about a year. And then what I realized was I was going to do all these things. And then I was slowly seeping back into running the 5K, but having the free beer afterwards, or like running the Spartan race and having the free beer afterwards. And that quickly like descended right back into the chaos that I was in before that. So fast forward to May 24th of 2018, which is the last time that I used any sort of mind-altering substances. I between 2015 when I went back to using it, in 2018 when I finally got sober, I added a whole bunch more trouble in my life. Family problems, relationship problems, lots of money problems, lots more legal problems. But the main thing that started happening to me was I started overdosing. So if anybody's familiar with the opioid epidemic and the trajectory that it's taken since fentanyl came into the scene, I mean, I literally almost died like 5 times within those 4 or 5 years. And the last time was on May 24th. So I went to treatment. I went to jail, then I went to treatment. When I was in treatment, somebody came in and asked me what I was going to do when I left, and I had no idea what to say, but I kind of shared with them, the journey that I took with physical fitness before and how it worked for me, but not all the pieces were there. And then I found the Phoenix, because this person that came into the Phoenix was Amy, who used to work for us. And she said, when you leave, come check this out. We have this free program. All it takes is 48 hours to come. We're doing CrossFit, yoga, hiking, biking, climbing, and it's all free. So when I left treatment, I came to the Phoenix and I just never left. And what I found was the piece of my puzzle that was missing was the supportive community that the Phoenix offers, which all of us here are familiar with the supportive community that we get from CrossFit in general. But knowing that I had a space to go to do fitness and do it with people that cared about my journey and wanted to support me in my own recovery just put everything together for me, and instantly I felt at home. So since then, I became a volunteer. I'm now the regional manager, and since I've been with the Phoenix about 5 years, like I've encountered in my region, we've served probably about 15,000 people through these type of free events that are led by volunteers. A lot of those are through our partner affiliates like Sarah and Kevin and Christie's. And just a very broad overview, the Phoenix is a nationwide nonprofit organization. Our mission is to build a sober, active community that fuels resilience and harnesses the transformational power of connection. And what that means is all throughout the country, now internationally, a little bit, we're offering free classes to anybody that has 48 hours of continuous sobriety. So that means our classes are open to anyone that is in recovery from a substance use disorder or mental health challenge like myself, supporters of people that are, and anyone that wants to just come have some sober fun. And it's been a tremendous part of my own recovery journey. I've seen lots of people come in, same as me, come in with 48 hours sober and just never leave and become the next kind of pillars of our community and keep growing it. And through the generosity and the support of our friends and affiliate owners, we've been able to really grow in ways that I never thought would be imagined. So that's just a little bit about myself and my journey, just to kind of, you know, highlight the work that we're doing and the real effect that it is having on people like myself. And I want to pass it over to my friend Caleb, who's our Southeast Regional Manager. He's going to tell you a couple of the ways that we can get involved.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. Apologize in advance. For some reason, like the universe knew we were having a call today, so it decided to give me like a cough. So I'll do my best not to do that while I'm on the call. Yeah, so as Chris said, I'm the regional manager in the Southeast here. I actually recently celebrated 9 years of sobriety myself. And for me, I think the most powerful thing about the Phoenix is until I fell into active addiction, and throughout the process of getting sober, I was a personal strength coach. I worked in cross boxes in Nashville, did some different things, but what I was missing, kind of that puzzle that Chris was speaking to, is I always found that like my recovery and like my real story of what I went through fell separate from my addiction or from my like coaching, right? So like I always felt like if the people I coached knew what I went through, they wouldn't trust me as much to be like the expert. And so I always had these two competing things that went on. But when I found the Phoenix, I actually found that when those two things meshed, I connected better with my members, my clients, my different folks that I worked with. And so I got to be my true authentic self. And I think that's something that now, working as a regional manager and as previously as a volunteer manager and a CrossFit coach for the Phoenix, I've gotten to see so many of our volunteers that come in and they're just like, the first thought is, well, I can't do CrossFit, it's too intense. And then they come in and they realize, like, we all know that CrossFit is infinitely scalable, but that doesn't seem to click for the average person that sees the workouts. But when they come to a Phoenix workout, one of the things that we really try to focus on is we're there to be a part of their fitness journey as they kind of get started. And so that soft entry in allows people to really find the ability to challenge themselves in a safe space and kind of move through. So same thing I've seen with our team members. We have in Tampa, which is where I'm based, we have, I would say right now we have 7 different CrossFit coaches who started off as very, very just like, I'm dipping my toe in the water of CrossFit. And then we've all seen like dip one toe, then 2 toes. And then before you know, you're cannonballing into the whole thing. And so through the Phoenix, we've been able to offer, which I'll talk a little bit about, some L1 scholarships for folks to be able to get certified so that then they can lead CrossFit classes for us. And I think Christy will talk a little bit about it next, some of the ways that we've added some value to her gym. But what we really want to do for affiliate owners is we want to create an opportunity, you know, through your gracious donation of space and time for us, we want to add value there for you too. So that could look a ton of different ways. We've recently instituted our CrossFit scholarship program, which if you're interested in some more information on that, what we would love for you to do, I think Chris is going to drop it into the chat, is our affiliate sign up page. Excuse me. And then I will also put my calendar link in the chat. So if you wanted to circle up, find a time on my calendar and we can meet, we can talk in depth a little bit more about what that could look like for your members, for your coaches, if they want some continuing education, different things. But we really want to try to, as much as we can, add value to your community, to your affiliate, and really build on that for you. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing in the CrossFit space without the affiliate owners. And so we're super grateful for that. And with that spirit in mind, we want to try to give back to you guys as much as we can. This is always something I highlight to affiliate owners. We do it in Tampa on a regular basis now. We kicked it off, and I don't know, this might sound pretty enticing to some of you, but our volunteers in Tampa actually said, hey, Caleb, we want to, in order to say thank you to the owners that are hosting us, we want to take the third CrossFit class of every other month, and we want to make it a community service event. And so what we do in that class is actually we ask the owner to give us like a list of things that they need done in the gym, painting walls, mopping the floor, stripping tape off the rigs. And our volunteers will have about 8 to 12 of them will come in the gym and just do whatever that list looks like. And then we'll have like a catered lunch with the members of the gym. And what we found is that in doing that, we create an even deeper community. So your members come help us out. We get to spend a little bit of time, and then actually those members start coming to some Phoenix classes, and it builds this bridge between it was just really powerful. So I always share that for two reasons. One, I'm super proud of my volunteers, but two, I think we all know some items on our checklist that could be helped with kind of knocking out. So having said that, I'll kick it over to Christy Hagan, which is our rock star volunteer in North Carolina at Neuse River. And she'll share a little bit about what's been going on there.
Caleb, thanks for having me. I apologize for the noise in the background. There is a class going on that I actually left one of my Phoenix participants who recently took his L1 on a scholarship in charge of my recovery high school kids that are out there. So hopefully that's all going very well. Let's see. We started a Phoenix program here 5.5 to 6 years ago. Time is kind of a vacuum. About 5.5 years ago, I think. And it was as simple as I got sober like 10 years ago, and then I turned around and got really fat and I was really unhappy. So I started working out for the first time like in my whole life in my late 30s. Eventually found CrossFit, and the original owner of this gym was friends with Kevin Ogar, who heard about the Phoenix, and I think they were already running a group at Watchtower. And I was like, wait, this is CrossFit free for people in recovery. We need to do this. And we've been running it ever since. We ran classes during COVID virtually. We have gone from having one class a week to now we have 2 CrossFit classes and 2 yoga classes. The Phoenix has sponsored, I want to say four of my people to get their L1s, and 5, my bad. I had somebody last night shadowing me. I mean, these are 2 of these guys are 2 guys that started coming here from the Healing Transitions, which is like a homeless shelter, long-term treatment facility here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we go over there and pick them up for class. So these 2 guys in particular started coming when they were participants of the program. And both of them now took their L1 and are interning to coach, which is really, really freaking cool. They went from, homeless with no jobs, no cars, no nothing, to like productive members of society that are happy to give back to the program. And we've been very fortunate. Our community has always integrated well with the Phoenix classes. It's not like 2 separate worlds here. And a lot of our regular members say things like, gosh, that's my favorite class of the week. And, you see a lot of people that are really grateful for the opportunity to work out versus maybe your regular members who are like, oh, my shoulders hurt, I don't want to snatch again. And it's just kind of a refreshing outlook for the people that do it every day to realize this is a gift that you get to do this, and maybe seeing these people that appreciate it for the gift is helpful. What else? I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about our experience with the Phoenix. We've had some growing pains together through COVID, like every gym and everything, but I think it's been nothing but a value add. We also found that there were people in our community that we did not know either were in recovery or were struggling with drinking, and running the program and being more open about, where I've come from. A lot of people have opened up and said, wow, I actually think I have a problem, or, oh, I don't drink anymore either, but I've been too embarrassed to say it. It's just, it's really been great. I don't know if there's more things you want me to say. I've been coaching
Cri-
since 5 a.m., so my brain is a little.
Christy, I was just going to ask with the group just to clarify, because I know there's a couple different ways of running the classes. When you started the classes, did you integrate them with regular members, or did you have like a separate class that was just exclusive to anyone joining in recovery?
So when we first started, and now we have like a dedicated Phoenix class, but it has always been open to our community with obviously the 48 hours of continuous sobriety rule. And in the beginning, we needed support, we needed help. I needed drivers to go pick up people that didn't have licenses. And, if you've got a large group of people that don't really have any idea what CrossFit is or what they're doing in the gym, getting a bunch of people that do know what they're doing and turning it into a partner workout has been really successful for us. I don't know if we're just super lucky that all our people are really happy to give back, but everyone here is thrilled with what we do. They're happy to contribute. They get excited when we do fundraisers. I mean, it's just been a win-win. And we do have, I should say, because this is for affiliates, right? We do have a couple of people that came in through the Phoenix program and are like paying long-term members of the gym now, like probably 6 people altogether, which is kind of a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, Danielle, I can share just a little bit of like on the Phoenix's side of that. So before COVID and slightly after COVID, our typical model was that Phoenix classes needed to be standalone because we wanted to ensure that kind of safe and supportive space. And what we learned through multiple experiences with CrossFit is like, for the large majority, those are safe and supportive spaces already. So when we kind of made a shift, we actually started calling so we have standalone classes and we have what we call blended classes, which is, let's say if you had a class that had a capacity of 15 people and it was lightly attended and you were like, hey, I would actually love to donate 5 spots to this class to the Phoenix. Then what we would do is we would open up those 5 spots to our members to then sign up and come take part in your typical CrossFit class, like for your community. And that's actually been super powerful because it connects what you're doing for the recovery community. Your membership gets to see it in real time. It's not this class that's coming in when everything closes at 7 p.m. It's like, no, they're part of my 11 a.m. class. And then they start kind of getting connected. And where that's been super inclusive for us is that our membership usually will then say, hey, we're also doing rock climbing over here. Would you guys like to come do that? And it just starts kind of building an even deeper connection in the community. So the blended class has been really, really successful. And it's not an added task for our affiliates to have to do. It allows it to be sustainable long-term. It's a minimal lift, and what we found to be really, really impactful. So there's a ton of different options on how you want it to look in your gym, and we're always open to discussing to make it as easy on you all as possible. Again, because we're just grateful to be in the space.
I think that's a great opportunity to introduce Kevin, because Kevin from CrossFit T1 is kind of like the model that we've used to develop that blended class idea. And I'll let him talk a little bit about how that's worked for his community.
Cool. And also, thank you, Chris, saving the day there, sending the correct link over. So yeah, Kevin Fork out of CrossFit T1 up here in Willow Grove. Actually ran into this one gentleman down here, Gavin Young, at a competition a few years ago, and standing in line waiting for a lift event to take off. We just kind of got to chatting, knew some, similar people. And later he had posted something about this whole Phoenix thing that was going on. I immediately messaged him and asked, like, what's this all about? How can we do this? Or how are you affiliated with it? And we kind of took it from there. I have a little background just to, family members who have struggled with addiction for a very long time, my entire life at this point. So, that was something where I really didn't know ever, how to handle that or what to do to help them. And I knew there were members here at the gym, when I first started coaching that were sober. And I watched a lot of them actually, come in here and, get after it after workouts, sitting in our lounge, and to see them kind of transform themselves and take on this, this new challenge of staying sober was, just inspiring in itself. So I spoke with them as well and asked if this was something that they would be interested in, helping kind of grow here. And their response our first night was absolutely incredible. We had members that I never even knew were sober show up, and they kind of took the lead, and it was a very cool experience. Thankfully I had Gavin here as well to kind of talk us through, kind of what that first event looks like. And we've been rolling with a blended class ever since, mostly because of, again, the members that we have here who are sober, probably 10 to 15 of them. And then the outside world started coming in as well, and we're consistent with about double-digit numbers every single week. We host Wednesday nights, 6:15 to 7:15, and it's my favorite class of the week to coach. It's been one where you see people come in, they try it, a few times, and some come back, some don't. And then we have lifers here who, October 6th, unfortunately, is a Friday next week. And again, being in this space and learning from all of the members that have come through, you don't celebrate your milestones before they actually happen. So we will be celebrating 2 years of hosting Phoenix every single week on Wednesdays on October 11th. And hopefully we get some of these guys to show up again as well. We've one of the things that I think has really driven our community, especially, and driven the community here with T1, is that we do, there's hero workouts, there's dedicated workouts for things, there's regular benchmarks. We've taken our members that come through. I always ask a little question here or there about, they talk about their sobriety, their time being sober, and then their dates as well. And we've made workouts out of those sobriety dates. We take their favorite movements and we throw them into a workout. We had one for Gavin recently as well. Last year on our 1 year anniversary, we took 2 of our members and we combined their favorite movements and their sobriety dates to create, one of the nastiest things we've probably done in a while here. But that's, I think, what keeps people coming back, is knowing that when they come in, it is a safe space. They are going to be taken care of. The members here are going to welcome them and ensure that they come back. And, there are little one-liners of, it's, the one day at a time thing, or, hey, we'll see you next week. All of those things to keep interest high, but also to keep it fun. And, that's been, the most successful one. Sometimes that's our biggest class of the day. And it's just, truly incredible to be a part of it.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I've also put in the chat that for Gavin's celebration, since we were in Philly, we had the obligatory hoagies and cannolis afterwards. So we like to party as well, just not in the same.
Always a theme behind each one of them as well. And that was more or less may have been directed towards Chris a little bit as well, making sure he knew that there were also good cannoli places outside of his area there.
There's Jersey and there's everywhere else, but it was a good effort. I appreciate it. That workout was awfully fun.
It was in Philly if you're calling it a hoagie and not a sub.
Right. Right. Thanks, Kevin. And then we also wanted to make some space for Sarah, who has been one of our longtime volunteers here in New Jersey, is the owner of Asbury Park CrossFit. And also, if anyone has seen on in Morning Chalk Up or on the interwebs, the Phoenix Classic is a CrossFit competition that we held there this year. That was Sarah's creation. So I'll let Sarah go ahead and talk about her experience.
Hey, I think I don't know how long we've had the Phoenix here, but I met Chris through a mutual friend. And ever since then, we've been, this gym has been huge. Go Phoenix people. And helping to integrate it in other gyms is one of my favorite things to do, because it's a really wonderful relationship that CrossFit has with the Phoenix. So I'll speak a little bit about my experience, and if anyone has any questions, I'm always open to them from the affiliate perspective. We integrated the Phoenix here. I had a coach who's in recovery, and we mostly brought it here for him so that he could coach it and feel like he was in a safe space, and giving the CrossFit to the community because CrossFit had done so much for him and his recovery journey. And then it just stayed with us ever since. And just as Christy said, you'd be surprised because you'll have members in your gym that you had no idea were living a sober lifestyle, and now they feel that much more comfortable that they're in a safe space to open up to you about them and their journey with substance abuse disorder. But the big thing here is it makes you stretch outside of the community within the walls of your gym. So I'll use, Caleb had a great example. I've attended other Phoenix events, right? You have to remember Phoenix is a nonprofit that just isn't just CrossFit. They have writing events, they have rock climbing events, yoga events, and you can go to these with 48 hours of sobriety. And when you're there, it's an opportunity to do what we love to do, right? Like help and talk and connect with more people. So with CrossFit, the thing that I've learned with bringing the Phoenix in is it's important to show them that you have that for them, that community, that safe place, maybe that scapegoat, where they can feel accepted. So we run our classes on Sundays. It's interesting, Chrissy said that, and it took us a while to get there, to find out that it was going to be Sundays at 9:30, which are double-digit classes, same thing. And you will have people who come and they all come once a week, every Sunday. And then you'll have some that say, hey, I'll use one of my current members as an example who we found via Phoenix. They're like, hey, I want to get pull-ups. Everybody here is doing pull-ups. How do I do that? And I turn to the Phoenix member and I'll say, well, we do pull-ups all throughout the week. So some of these people who you see doing pull-ups here are members. So if you're interested in trying a class that happens throughout the week, you're more than welcome to. And that person is actually a member now. And not only is that Phoenix attendee now a full-time member, they're actually somebody who, when I get a new member, I call this person the welcoming committee, and they are an exceptional member. They're not just that member. And I know all the affiliate owners here know what I'm talking about when I say you have those outlying members who you're like, sweet, I can partner them up with anyone and they'll make somebody feel cared for and loved within our community. And that is this person along with another one. So and I'm avoiding using gender specific names, because that's something that we do via the Phoenix. I make sure to say athlete, especially here in New Jersey, and I'm in Asbury Park, which is really big on accepting all people and all pronouns. So it's been an exceptional journey. I've been fortunate enough to partner up with Chris on a few different fundraisers for the Phoenix. We run the Phoenix Classic. So the Phoenix Classic, the idea behind that is we ran it for the first time this year, and we had, I want to say we had 127 athletes, and it was amazing energy in here because it was when I met Kevin, for example. I saw Kevin from T1 on here, and I was able to connect with another affiliate owner who ran the Phoenix and talk to him about it in that way. It was my way to connect with more people who were in support of the Phoenix and sobriety. And it was also a way for all our athletes who didn't have to be sober, for all of our athletes to know that after this competition, we weren't all going out drinking, because that wasn't the goal. That Echo bike finisher though, yes. And I saw somebody posted on here about connecting with recovery centers, recovery communities. Chris, I hope it's okay if I speak. We connected with a community. The way I found this recovery center and the person who ran it is I went to a rock climbing event for the Phoenix, and not even trying to make it a networking specific opportunity, connected. And they worked at a recovery center, and we worked it out so that they could bring individuals from the recovery center. They came here all together on a van provided by the recovery center. And I was able to lead a class that was just for them. And then they were able to know, hey, we also run a free class here. It's called the Phoenix. It's on Sundays. And so when you have the chance to attend classes like this, we're here for you. So that is something that is possible, but will be specific to your area. Am I right to say that, Chris? Okay. And just so everybody knows, the Phoenix Classic is something that was designed to promote other affiliates that offer Phoenix classes. Not that the Phoenix doesn't already do enough for us. You're talking already about another app that promotes your business. It's not why we do it, but as Caleb so elegantly pointed out, it's very nice to have somebody scratch our back every once in a while. Like, there are things that we need to get done. So right away, when you tell me that my business can be on another platform where people can find me who are looking to better themselves, that right there, sign me up. Because I want somebody who wants to better themselves to come into my gym, and anybody who clicks check in for the Phoenix app is looking to do just that. If that makes any sense to everybody. But as I said, if anyone has any questions, it's Sarah Murphy. And I think I made a enormous post on the CrossFit affiliate page in August about it. And I had a few people actually DM me, but we really enjoy having the Phoenix here in the process. And our members enjoy it too.
Thank you, Sarah. We have plenty of time. Sorry, go ahead, Danielle.
No, I was going to open it up to anyone on this call who has questions specifically about implementing the program that we could, involve Sarah and Christy and Kevin. Am I the only one with questions? Oh, okay, Jeremiah.
Hey, Danielle. Yeah, I do remember you. I was there part of Catch a Lift. Yeah. It's nice to see you. I'm actually on the West Coast, y'all. I'm out in California. And so I guess my first question is, how do I find people or treatment facilities in my area to bring those folks in? And also like this is very personal to me too, because I'm 2 years sober now. So I'm just really here excited to learn from y'all. So yeah, how can I find like treatment facilities and without sounding like a crazy person? Hey, come try CrossFit. Like, how do I go about doing that?
So Jeremiah, I'm going to give you a quick answer first, and then I'll let the other affiliate owners, if you are connected with us with the Phoenix, like for instance, like I'm Sarah's point of contact, and that's my job, is to find what are the local treatment centers that are near you and be able to drop off marketing material and make those connections. Although Sarah and some of the other affiliates owners are able to do that on their own and do that on their own. If you're in California, you'll be linked up probably with Andy or Gustavo, who's our coordinators over there, and they'll be able to help you do that. And then I'll also let Sarah and Kevin answer. And there's some links going in the chat too. Google searches are fine, and most of them have like an info at email that you can shoot an email and say like, "Hey, I'm so and so running this class. Here's a flyer."
So I was gonna say, it's funny. This Sunday I had 2 attendees. Can you guys hear me? Yes, I had 2 attendees, and right away they had said, we just got out of recovery. So how did they hear about us? At the recovery center, they talk about the Phoenix. So if the Phoenix has made that connection, they'll talk about the Phoenix, they'll download the app, and then they find you. And it's based on location. So when I pull up my app, for me, it's a volunteer app, but I can easily go to participant. It'll show me in a certain surrounding area what Phoenix classes are being offered. So I'll see like Asbury Park CrossFit T1 this far away. But it's the Phoenix makes the connection, and then you'll get people from all over, from all different recovery centers, or not even people who just hear about it online, to come to you just because they download the Phoenix app, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
One
Jeremiah,
of the things that
go ahead. So just real quick, Jeremiah, I was going to say too, we have a lot of within treatment centers, we do have contractors that go in and offer on-site programming. And so a lot of times having your class on the app where folks can find it, that's a big piece. So like if you're already running existing Phoenix programming, it's kind of like if you build it, they will come. Then those contractors let folks know. And typically they download that app before they leave treatment as part of like their aftercare plan. And then when they're coming into your area, they're actually looking for classes. And so if you have those in place, it's kind of like multi-tiered, where you going in, talking to folks, they see it stand up there. And then maybe if they participate in something else, like a walk or a hike, then those same participants invite them to come join you at their class. So it kind of hits all full circle on that. Sorry, Kevin, you go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. One of the things that when we first signed up, I believe Chris, you may have sent out, there was like a welcome box kind of thing that came, and there were not only flyers and things like that in there, but our members then who were here just started taking them out to their meetings. And that's how we actually started getting a lot of our initial members, was people coming from meetings who had saw something and they were like, hey, I'll give this a try. And then, they ended up in coffee shops all over the area here. And then most recently they sent out, we've got a nice little postcard here, got the Phoenix logo on there, and then also QR code with the link to T1. So that now we've sent those out with our members as well. We tell them to take them to wherever they're going for meetings. If they're speaking, we're just hand them out at some point. And the flyers actually in the coffee shops did a lot better than some of the meetings did. But yeah, it's that, you find the link or you hear about it at the recovery center, and next thing you know, I mean, like Sarah said and some others have said here, it's also, it scratches our back too. We've a couple, maybe half dozen members that have come through, and then our long-term members now that then keep spreading the word about it. And we see new people in here every single Wednesday night, and it's one of the coolest things about it.
I think, not to jump in here, because I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff to say here. I'm Gavin, by the way. I'm from Philadelphia. I was one of the first volunteers at the Phoenix in Philly. I was coaching at CrossFit Fairmount and CrossFit South Philly, and I've been in recovery for a number of years, and I used to drag people I knew from 12-step meetings to go do on-ramp classes, and people were always asking where I was getting these folks from, and I just would say around the neighborhood. So I've been doing this for a little bit, and I think it's really important to double down in terms of who we're talking about when we talk about Phoenix programs. Our goal and our mission really started with serving the recovery community, but then we look at a more macro scope of what we're doing here. It's anybody that's impacted by substance use disorder. So we're talking about siblings, parents, family members, things like that. We had a lot of folks that were coming to us in the early days of Phoenix saying hey, I'm not in recovery, but my brother is, can I come? And 100%, we want those people involved in this, because when you look at this problem, it's not necessarily just the people that are in recovery, it's their family, their friends. So we want them to be involved in the solution as well too. So it's become a way of getting those folks from Kevin's member base and Sarah's member base involved as well too. Sorry, not to run long-winded. I have a habit of doing it.
I have an example of getting recovery centers involved. I'm from central Massachusetts, and anything an hour west of Boston doesn't really exist. So we're really in a rural town, small rural town, and anything outside of the normal is kind of frowned upon. It was hard kind of getting the recovery centers around here on board with CrossFit, let alone something other than the traditional AA. So I tried to advertise around with the local recovery centers that were here, and I got nothing out of that. No response back from anyone. Just fell on deaf ears. But my church held the AA groups, and the pastor of my church said it was okay for me to leave the Phoenix brochures out on the tables. And so then when the AA groups would come in, they started putting the connection of me putting all that stuff on social media all the time, and then seeing that there, and started putting the connection together. And then I think some people started reaching out to me saying, hey, is this you? And is this where you are? And I can say that I feel like I finally hit the jackpot, because it just takes a couple of them to come to the Phoenix, and then they spread the word, and then those brochures will then make their way to a different AA and a different church building. And I think it's kind of spreading like wildfire right now. And we have a fantastic group of people that are coming in now. The other thing that happened when the Phoenix program just started out here in Central Mass, we were the only ones in the area. Otherwise, you had to drive out an hour to Boston to find a Phoenix. We had someone coming from the Gardner. I put the link, not the link, I put information to the person that I'm going to talk about. She ran a recovery center, and she was also in CrossFit and in recovery herself. She would take a van full of people, drive them an hour to the Phoenix that I was running down in central Massachusetts, southern Massachusetts. And eventually someone from there wanted to become a volunteer. And then they found a CrossFit up in their area, and it put a damper on the CrossFit here, but it started a new one an hour away. So it was the little snowball effect that happened. And then the group of Phoenix that I run, the CrossFit class that I run, I don't own the affiliate, but we're back up and running again. So it was kind of a bittersweet moment, but it just spread. It eventually spread. And now there's four different locations in central Massachusetts, opposed to just the one. So it happens. Gotta be patient.
They do a really good job of marketing for you. So it's a common thing in the CrossFit, whether CrossFit markets for, CrossFit, right? Do they market for the affiliates, which are actually doing an awesome job now. They've recently added your affiliate can go on affiliate map. Phoenix does that too. So like my app is here and it says events near you, and your gym can be here for anybody who downloads the app. So like right there, it's a no-brainer as long as you're agreeing to provide a safe place, a safe and sober place for people to come. And I think that when we really drank the Kool-Aid, that is the Phoenix, doing things like when you have people attend those classes, invite them to your Bring a Friend free week. Next thing you know, they are a full-time member. And yeah, that's great for you. You have a full-time member, but you also just saved somebody, right? You just made their recovery journey easier. We're here to help people with obesity because that's what they're fighting. But this is now presenting another thing to us, right? We have another job as affiliate owners. It really is our job to make people healthier. So in my head, having the Phoenix in my affiliate, that's me just doing my job. That's what you're supposed to do. Help people who need help, who need to live a healthier life. But it's a no-brainer. They have something, you could look it up for your state, NJ Sober Events on Instagram. They have all of them. And they will list your gym. Hey, Asbury Park CrossFit, 9:30 Sundays, they're having an event. They do that for you. And it's volunteer run typically. So that's where I'm like, we're not here to just convince you, we're here to tell you about it, but it's a no-brainer to me. And it brings you're closer to other affiliate owners. I see Kareem on here. He's probably like 6 miles away from me. It's amazing. I can't wait till he runs Phoenix classes there, because I can send people who come to my Phoenix class there too. Test it out. If that kind of gives you guys any insight.
Chris and Caleb, I had a question, and maybe this will help with anyone who's watching this call in the future, but you had mentioned volunteer opportunities. Say you're not an owner and you're a coach who wants to give back. What other channels of volunteering do you guys offer? And like, what would that look like to get involved? Do you have any links for that to share with the group? And I could also pass that out.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the links in there too, but I think it's a great question, Danielle. Thanks. And I think what we try to do is make sure that everyone knows that like volunteering can look different for everybody. So like, for instance, my mom is like 72 years old. She worked for the YMCA for like 40 years. So she's really good at like networking and fundraising stuff. So whenever we do fundraising, she's a person that I tap in. She's an official Phoenix volunteer. She helps me like do print marketing, she organized a silent auction for me once. We have members that aren't coaches yet. Maybe they members of Asbury Park that aren't coaches yet. Maybe they want to be coaches in the future. They sign up to become a volunteer, and they can be a supporter in Sarah's class, just kind of like the person that helps get people signed in, helps set up the weights, clean up afterwards. The person that takes, like Kevin said, takes those cards and goes and hands them out at their church or their local coffee shop. We have people that are volunteering just to help run our social media. So there's no one box that you have to fit in to become a volunteer. Like, we need all the support that we can get, and whatever skill, talent, and time that you're willing to share with us, we'll definitely find a use for it and welcome it as possible, as much as possible. And I'll put the link to volunteer in there, but the best way is to download our app so you can kind of get a feel for what everything else looks like. And then if you feel it's a good fit, attend one of our classes, sign up for one of our classes, whether that's an in-person event near you, or if you don't have an in-person event near you, we have online classes that are happening. I think there's 70 plus classes a week. And once you have signed into one class, about 48 hours later, a button on your app will pop up that says volunteer with us. You can go through your volunteer onboarding process right there, and then you'll be put in contact with whoever your local point of contact is in your area, and have that discussion about how you can get involved and what it is that you want to share with our community.
Thank you. Christy, Kevin, Sarah, have you had any members volunteer after running the classes who wanted to give back and then turn into coaches? Sarah, you had mentioned that you had some coaches come out.
I did. I
was their-
think I spoke a lot. So Chrissy and Kevin, do you guys have anybody that's I can talk about it, but I'll be talking all day.
We actually just had a member complete their or go through the seminar this past weekend out of King of Prussia. So they were on the scholarship. Hopefully we get good news back Sunday night. But we have another one who's going in December, and we have a couple more who are interested, who have come up and asked us about it. And it's also we have one who's going to be going through the volunteer portal there to then help us run yoga classes as well throughout the week. So it's not just the CrossFit side of things. It's the other activities and the other events that people gravitate to, and that was something where giving them the opportunity to do that. And aside from the scholarship, which is, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like, it's awesome for members to get out there and one, not only take it then from this level of attending classes to now running those classes. I mean, that alone is just it gives you a little that chill factor a little bit there.
We had a member who the reason they wanted to coach was to coach Phoenix classes. So they didn't want to just coach, but now they are being used as a coach, and she's wonderful. But she has a family member who struggles with substance abuse disorder. And she was like, I want to coach Phoenix classes. Where can I do that? And she found us, and we trained her to be as a coach. And the intention was to coach Phoenix classes. And she also went through that scholarship program, and it's an incredible thing. And that member I talked about, now she's a volunteer, but a volunteer for rock climbing. So she's over at rock climbing, chirping up, Asbury Park CrossFit's the best. Asbury Park CrossFit, go there. So it goes like this. It's a ripple effect, Heidi said, and she's absolutely right.
And on that note too, for affiliate owners, a lot of times the way it looks with we try to support the volunteers through our infrastructure. So if you were to say, hey, we really want to have a Phoenix class on Wednesday nights, but maybe we want to start offering some Phoenix yoga in our gym. I just don't know a yoga instructor. Our volunteer team will actually put out those feelers to try to find someone that is capable of doing that in your gym. So you don't have to come to us with the volunteer. A lot of times you just having the space that we can host the class, we'll do the legwork to get that person in. And of course, it's up to you if you want them to lead a class there or not. But a lot of times we try to take away that extra legwork you have to do to find a person to host an offering that you want to have in your space.
And Caleb, to piggyback off that, so for that example, say you're setting up a class, would that be on an ongoing basis, or would it be like kind of trying to find a yoga instructor for that week, what would be that sort of commitment?
So it can vary. I think what we try to do is we want to make sure it's a good experience for the volunteer too. So like a lot of times what happens in most nonprofits, you're going to do the Relay for Life. So that's going to be on the third Thursday in September. And like once that event's done, it's over. In the Phoenix, it can be an ongoing thing. It can be 6 months, it can be a year. If you're Christy, it can be for like 6 years, whatever that looks like. But what we try to do is we try to have like maybe, let's say, a 90-day check-in to see how things are going, both for the volunteer, for the affiliate, and then also for Phoenix. If we see, let's say someone's hosting a class at Sarah's gym, and they're only seeing like 3 to 4 people show up, well, then it's our job to help try to drive some traffic to that class. And then maybe, this also happens. There's 18 to 20 people that come and Sarah goes, hey, based on life circumstances, I can't do Wednesday nights anymore. Then it's up to us to try to find a way to either cover that class or shift it. So the volunteer commitment can look different. And I think what we try to do is whatever the needs of the affiliate are or the desires, we want to meet that, but we also want to make sure that the volunteers have a good experience. And so there's always constant communication between like Chris, myself, someone like Gavin, anybody on staff about how that's going for the affiliate and for the volunteer. And then we try to meet in the middle, whether that means backfilling something if the affiliate wants to keep running, or if the affiliate, if you all come to us and say, hey, look, we no longer can offer this for a time being, then we also work with that too. And so we try to be as flexible as we can to maintain that relationship.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Caleb, too. There's no commitment period. So I have volunteers that have been volunteering for 5 years. I have volunteers that have led classes for 3 months and then went back to school or moved to a different state. I have a volunteer actually, and Sarah knows who I'm talking about, that volunteered to coach classes here in New Jersey at 3 different gyms, and then moved to Hawaii and is running Phoenix classes in Hawaii. So it goes both ways. Like there's no one right way. It's whatever that we can together make happen.
Does anyone have any other questions?
I have a question. So I'm in California, and let's say I do want to start running these Phoenix classes. I reach out to Phoenix. They provide, I come up with the day and the time, right? Or and the coach, or
Yeah, depending on where you are, we're mainly volunteer led. So I don't know where you are in California, but I think we have one Phoenix staff member that is a Phoenix CrossFit coach in California. But what happens is some gyms will say, hey, I have the space, I'd love to host, but I don't have the time or a coach to coach the class. And then sometimes it can work that we also then have a coach that's willing to coach, but doesn't have a place to coach at. Whatever it is that presents itself, we try to work through it. On our affiliate landing page, you'll see, if you were to fill out that form, you'll see what the options are there. The best case scenario, and this is my personal opinion, this is not an organizational standpoint, the best thing that I have found is to have like 2, 3 coaches at one location, so this way the volunteer coach only has to coach 1 hour a month, and there's like a rotation and nobody gets burnt out. That's been the best case experience that I've seen so far, and that builds over time. Like Kevin said, like Kevin led that class for a year. Maybe then someone else is going to take that on at some point when one of these new members comes up and is ready to coach. Then it can be a little bit of a rotation. This way nobody gets burnt out. But every instance is different. And like Caleb said, we try to meet everybody where they're at and make it work however we can.
and then how does it work as far as programming? Because these people are no CrossFit experience.
Right. So a couple of different ways, but we leave that mainly up to the volunteers. We do have access to some programming, but like Kevin develops his own programming. So does Sarah, and a lot of the other locations that we have will just take whatever their programming is for the day anyway at their gym and use that for it, and just make sure that they know to make it accessible to people that are new to fitness.
And
we
then
kind of go off of that as well. We'll run the same program. It's the same workout of the day that everybody else gets, which I also, I think that helps bridge that gap then for new people who are coming in. We have to modify sometimes. And we've had members come in that have, less than 0 experience. They've never done a workout before in their lives, and this was their first one, we modify it, and we'll make sure that we either I'm staying close to them throughout the class, or we have another member who is and a lot of the time what we'll do is we make those Wednesday night workouts, if they're sometimes a little too intense, even though that's kind of what we do anyway, we'll partner them, and partner workouts are always a great way to go. You get that little extra motivation factor from them. It turns into something that's motivating as well. It's like, oh, I don't want to let this person down that I'm working with, and they kind of drop that their guard a little bit when it comes down to well, I got to look out for me as well, and you don't want to let the other people down in the class. So there's always that push from someone in there. And again, like I said, partner workouts are a great way to go, but we will modify all the time.
Right. And then you talked about the Phoenix app. That's a separate app. It's not linked to, like, is there can I see who's coming into the class prior? Is it like,
Yeah.
how does?
So as a Phoenix, the app has two parts to it. So once you download our app, and you become a volunteer, there's a member facing app. That means that someone who's not a volunteer, they can see classes and sign into classes. And then there's a volunteer side of the app. You can switch back and forth once you're a volunteer, and you can then add your classes, edit your times, dates, recurrences, locations, whatever it is. And you also then can see who is signed in and who's not. You can also then manually enter people that aren't signed in. If they haven't signed in before they came, you can say, hey, what's your name, email address, date of birth. And I think it's a good point, Brianne, too. I think it's important to mention that once somebody signs into our event on the app at your location, they're covered under the Phoenix's liability. So we can give you a certificate of insurance with you as the additional insured, but if it's a Phoenix event being hosted, the people that sign in are covered under our liability.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, on that, with that too, Chris, I maybe have you sent any out, Chris? But I know that I've seen it where we can actually send you the metrics and the numbers of the number of, like, an overall for a year, how many people have attended your facility from Phoenix. So we can pull a report and you can see, like, Asbury Park or whatever facility has served 300 Phoenix members this year, X amount of times. So we're able to track that data through the app as well. And that's has been a big help for us to see, like, where can we direct some resources and how we can maybe help grow some of those programs too.
We also send out like post-event surveys, which is kind of cool because we get feedback on the classes. So I don't know how many times I'll see, like, wow, Kevin is the best coach ever. I can't wait to go back to T1 next week. Or Sarah Murphy's always smiling. She makes everything fun. Like, we get to see those comments, and that's something also that's really fun to share. Brianne, you made me think of this too, and this hasn't happened yet, but like, hypothetically, this has been a dream of mine. If we had like 5 Phoenix gyms that were all with short driving distance of each other, those coaches could get together and like share the programming so that it was like an actual programming instead of just you go into mayhem at one gym, training think tank at one gym, and cap at the other gym, and you end up doing deadlifts 3 days in a row. We haven't had that happen here yet because it's been, everything's kind of distant from each other, but in the future it's something that we've talked about, having like a specific type of programming and partner with another organization to be able to have access to. That's happened to me too. Sarah will tell you, I did burpee box jump overs 4 days in a row once because I had to go to 4 different gyms. I was miserable about it.
And that's a really cool idea for the future. Like I said, I see Kareem on here. I see Mike from Apache's on here, and those are 2 gyms that are relatively close to me. So something that is unique, when we signed on for the Phoenix, Chris kind of right away said, like, all right, what day do you want? But Ocean Athletics, which is a gym that's close to me, has it on this day. So if we could pick another day, that would be really good. And that's something I see for the future. If you're close to the Monmouth County area, is being able to share that. And that is one of the reasons that I created the Phoenix Classic, is for affiliate owners like Kevin, and for people who are supporters of the Phoenix to kind of come together, because it is about also connecting the CrossFit communities, right? At least that's how we see the Phoenix, even though it stretches beyond CrossFit. If that makes any sense and hits home with anyone.
I think it's also probably worthwhile to call out if anybody's kind of considering like a low touch way of trying this out and seeing if it feels right. But you don't have necessarily a coach you can identify that would be willing to take on another class, or you don't want to add another class to your schedule. Maybe think of like an underperforming class that's already on your schedule that you already have a coach who's coaching, and then think about maybe opening up 6 spots in that class on the Phoenix app and just seeing what the experience is like bringing some of our community into your space. And then, you know, who knows where it goes from there.
Well, guys, just to be mindful of the time, especially if you're coaching evening classes tonight, I wanted to thank the Phoenix team, Caleb and Chris, for all the information and for supporting just affiliates in general. And, you know, as affiliate owners, we're here to support our local communities. So to me, this is just like, it makes, like Sarah was saying, this partnership just makes sense. Most of us, like I started coaching to help people as a coach and then opening an affiliate just because of that. And I strongly think that you want to distinguish yourself in the community for what sort of impact you make as an affiliate. Being able to cast this net out to groups that really need help. I mean, that's something that I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but I am just really happy to have a platform to share and connect you all. So if you have any questions in the future, I'm going to be sending a follow-up with this recording, and any information Caleb and Chris you want to pass on. I've been taking notes as well. I'm a point of contact too for you all. And also, if you're not in the Northeast, you can always contact me still, but you also have an affiliate rep in your region. Brianne, Katie Hogan's also your rep if you haven't been in touch with her, and Gordon Lake for Matt. And I think there's a lot of folks in the Northeast on this, but I'll be following up with an email and also including Chris and Caleb's contact information. Sarah, Kevin, Christy, if you don't mind, like if that's all right, if I could include your information. You guys have a lot of experience with running this program. So yeah.
100%.
I don't know if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin's like, no, don't pass it. No.
Absolutely. Feel free.
You're good to pass on any information. It's all good.
Yeah, I should have asked you. I'm like, I'm just gonna pass on your information. But